Welcome to the channel, everybody. Appreciate you guys coming and checking it out. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for me. Now in this video, what we're going to do is continue with the H.A. Miller video series. This video is going to be about the assistant that he was working with and her notes. Now in this video, she goes into a little bit more detail. It might not be as long, but she goes into a little bit more detail. And there was also a commenter that commented on the original post that I'm going to read to you because I think it's really relevant to this video. Now, having said all that, I'm going to say again, there are some people out there that think this is nothing but a big hoax. But then there are other people that say that this is what's happening to H.A. Miller is the same thing that happened to Bob Lazar with Area 51. And that is, if the government wants you to be erased from any institution or any record that you've had anywhere, or make it seem like you were somewhere else, they definitely have that ability to do that. Now that is a conspiracy, I understand that, but hey, if the government doesn't want you to know something, you're not going to know it, and we all know that. So having said that, let's get to this. It's really interesting, so I can't wait to tell it to you guys. My name is Blank. I live in Sweden and was raised here by my wonderful parents. My father is Swedish and met my mother in the United States big state of Texas. I am a woman of great interest in the arts, but was always intrigued by my grandmother's Evelyn Wentworth stories of the Bigfoots. I don't believe in these creatures, but I was surprised to hear about Dr. Miller's letters. Grandma always told me stories about her studies as a United States biologist for the Department of Forest or something along that line. I'm not familiar with American governments. Now she uses the word more for grandmother, but I'm just going to say grandmother just so you guys know. We would visit grandmother each Christmas in America while I was growing up. She would occasionally tell us stories about 3 giant monkey-like creatures she found in Texas when she was a young scientist of 25 or so years old. I recall her talking about finding these monsters in some caves in the Texas forests. A fire had burned some of these giant monkeys. I always thought her stories were so crazy, but how strange to read about Dr. Miller's letters. When I was older and could understand her stories better, I questioned her about these details. She would answer by telling me she contacted an expert who flew to Texas to help her examine these dead monkeys, and his name was Dr. Miller. She would tell us how angry he was at her and the others because one of the monkeys was not dead. She always told me that the real reason he was angry was because she was a female scientist and he thought women could not be highly intelligent scientists. But over time, Dr. Miller warned to my grandmother and included her on his future studies. Grandmother always would tell me that I would accomplish whatever I set my mind to as a woman. She would then boast that the first person to ever discover a Bigfoot was a woman, even though Dr. Miller would take such credit. She did refer to these monkeys as something other than Bigfoot. The first ones discovered by her in Texas she called something like TEXICANUS. She would tell me stories of the different species like the Samphos in the swamps of the United States Southeast, and at the times she spent in Belize and South America studying the Amazonian type Bigfoot. She even told stories about the Arctic types with pure white fur. She seemed to know Dr. Miller well. Alright, and then here are her grandmother's notes. Notes regarding the New World ape. Evolution from monkey to apes to the bipedal high order. Adaptation to open habitats in the American landscape. Seemingly American transition approximately 3 million years ago from monkey to ape and onto a higher order of bipedal ape similar to Zinsanthropus boisei. Climate changes in the Americas 3 million years ago forced the arboreal nature of the New World monkeys to a terrestrial habitat. Did this event result in new ape evolutionary pattern in the Americas? The species utilized stones for food gathering and processing, meat eaters as well as plant and fruits, migratory in nature. To support Dr. Miller's theorems, we examine Rusconi's work. Homunculus was discovered in the New World with traits that demonstrate parallel evolution due to change in olfactory usage and increased binocular reliance. Dr. Miller uses this example as a similar evolutionary pattern in the New World to those primates in the Old World. However, my question is to whether the changes in Homunculus is due to transition from nocturnal living. For my own journaling, I will not refer to this new species as C, due to insufficient data provided. I do, however, agree this New World ape species is remarkable, divergent, and maintains features from all primate suborders. For my own purposes, I will reference the species as PRIMUS. Dr. Miller maintains his approach, of which I cannot subscribe. I will adopt my own. PRIMUS ARKTOS has now been discovered. First encounter, as I've written about previously, occurred 2 years ago when fossil remains were obtained in Nunavut of an early PRIMUS specimen. Our dating of the specimen indicates 70,000 years ago, indicating continued support of the great American ape theory. If this fossil evidence is confirmed as existing earlier than the land bridge, we know PRIMUS did not migrate from Asia. The legends of Yeti in Nepal are most likely sightings of ARKTOS, PRIMUS ARKTOS, which have migrated out of North America and into Asia. PRIMUS ARKTOS is very large and is in fact the largest known of the PRIMUS species. It is larger than Primus notoros pacificus, Primus xanthos, Primus amazonia, and Primus TEXICANUS. It is most similar to Primus americanus. The species' outer coat is very white, similar to Arctic foxes and polar bears. Primus ARKTOS seemingly feeds on large Arctic mammals including Arctic cetaceans, pinnipeds, but mostly caribou. Like all Primus species, the ARKTOS particularly hunt deer, such as caribou. Primus ARKTOS and American subtypes maintain some prosimian traits. ARKTOS and Americanus more reliant on smell than vision. Notoros pacificus maintains forearm scent glands. Sophos, TEXICANUS, and Amazonia have significant armpit scent glands, extremely pungent smell. All Primus species are similarly American monkey in the following 2 ways. They all give twin births, and they're all paternal involvement in the infant rearing. Alright, so that's his assistant, or the forest worker I should call her, the forest scientist, and that's her report on these creatures. Like I said, there was a commenter that commented on the original post, and I'm going to go ahead and read that to you guys. Now, once again, you guys make up your own mind. You know, you think this is a hoax or you think this is real. It's very fascinating to me. That's why I'm giving it to you guys, so you guys can make up your own minds. Alright, here we go. I am shy about sharing my experience. It is a relief to see more and more from the United States Forest Service posting the truth. I spent time as an archaeological assistant several semesters each year while in graduate and postgraduate school. We definitely knew about the Bigfoots. We were given a reference card which included the accepted scientific taxa accepted by the United States Forest Service. I kept it to this day. And then she lists the taxas here, so I'm going to read it off to you. Kingdom, Animalia. Phylum, Chordata. Class, Mammalia. Order, Primates. Family, Omniambiatae. Genus, Omniambiantiacus. Species, ARKTOS, Notoros pacificus, Xanthos, Americanus, TEXICANUS, and Amazonia. I remember learning about Dr. Miller and the debates about classifying the animal, and the taxonomy keeps changing each decade or so, but his species classification has stayed the test of time. Because the animal is a hodgepodge of various primate qualities from New World monkeys to prosimian to Old World monkeys, it was recently determined to create a single new family of primate. This new family literally means all in one or all encompassing. And then this person goes on to say, as an archaeological assistant for the United States Forest Service, we were assigned to very remote areas in the Pacific Northwest. Of course, we knew we could encounter 3 different kinds of Bigfoots: ARKTOS, Notoros pacificus, and Americanus. One early morning while at a study site in the Gold Hill area, I noticed a herd of running big blacktail deer. The deer ran through an open grove. It seemed like out of nowhere when a large Bigfoot pacificus jumped from the tree line and landed on top of a large blacktail. It nearly straddled the deer and flung its huge muscular arms around the neck of the deer, pulling it to the ground. Once the deer was to the ground, the Bigfoot clamped his huge jaws onto the neck of the deer and shook violently. I was terrified, especially when it looked up at me and stared momentarily. Then it grabbed the deer by its neck and dragged it off. Anytime I tell this story, I am ridiculed. I hope more Forest Service or Fish and Wildlife employees start speaking up. By the way, this is what was on the other side of that reference card. Note, ONP is a reference to Bigfoot Notoros pacificus. And it goes to read, State of Oregon Forest Service quick reference card, what to do when encountering a pacificus in the wild. While driving a vehicle, keep headlights, taillights, mirrors, and all windows clean and clear. Slow down and try to avoid the animal. Note, if encountering pacificus, it is safer to hit the animal rather than drive off the shoulder and risk a head-on collision. Pacificus that display dangerous characteristics should be destroyed. At times, pacificus may feed on private livestock on federal lands. Notify your supervisor immediately and maintain confidentiality. Exercise extreme caution in the presence of pacificus. Keep alert for pacificus at all times. So there you guys have it. What do you guys think of this video? What do you guys think of this information I just read to you? Hoax, or do you think that it could be real? I mean, there's a lot of information here to digest, and like I said before, a lot of people are saying, well, this document's this and this one's proven to be that. But again, there are other people saying, hey, remember what they did to Bob Lazar with Area 51, the man that worked at Area 51 and blew the whistle? All of a sudden, all his records changed. All of a sudden, there's no record of him basically anywhere. The government can do a lot of things. I'm not saying that's the case with this, but you can't just instantly blow something off just because you can't prove it to be true, I guess is what I'm trying to say, especially when the government is involved. And if you really think about it, it really does make a lot of sense that the government would be involved with this creature if they knew about him, because, and this goes to my theory, and the document from Mr. Miller even said it, the industry and the construction industry would like take a massive hit. Like if they had to protect all this land and all these forests for these really super rare creatures, you know, so they got to figure something out. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Make sure you hit that like button and leave me those comments. And remember, until next time, where there is a WILLSTAR, there is a way. And we'll see you guys later.